Hello, this is Glenn Broderick, and I'm going to do a quick demo of the 4700 high voltage meter. So the 4700 is good for calibrating any kind of high voltage equipment, but quite often it's used for calibrating highpots. So what you see here is I have it set up, there's a highpot on the bottom, a V7X highpot from Vitrek, and the 4700 that we're looking at today is on top. Now, the 4700 is a dual use meter. It reads both AC and DC simultaneously, and you can see it can also display peak to peak power and peak to peak voltage and also the crest factor. So there's several different menus in here we can take a look at. One is the mode. Right now I've got in the precision mode. There's also a fast mode for if you want to do data to a PC and you want to analyze the data. And there's also one specifically for looking at ripple. But for today, we're just going to use the precision mode. There's also a bandwidth filter in here. Typically for power applications, you use this 10 to 150 hertz, but you can see that you can set it a little wider, up to 600 hertz bandwidth, and a little narrower, depending on what you want to measure. So notice that I have a color touch control screen, and I can also set the time constant on here for looking at, basically I've got a 0.4 second time constant. I can slow that down for more precise measurements, but right now today we're just going to use this. And then you can turn off digits if you feel that a digit is not warranted, then you can turn off some digits. And I'm going to leave all 6 on, and you can do a DC 0 of the device right there. So I've got the highpot programmed, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to start it up, and what you'll see is it's got several different levels. It's designed to go to right now to 1,000 volts and hold it for a few seconds, and then 2,000, and then 3,000. The AC you see on there is the AC ripple on the line. And there is the DC 4,000 and 5,000. So the highpot just goes up to 5,000 volts. The meter itself can have up to a 10,000 volt direct input. You can also tell it to, you can have probes for it that will go up to 150 kilovolts as well. Notice that when I connect up, this is my low or common. It's actually floating, but we want you to keep it within 600 volts RMS of ground. That's the maximum you can have that float. And you can have the input here up to 10 kilovolts RMS or 15 kilovolts peak. And again, if you put probes, you can have 2 probes for this. Typically, we just use the low probe, and that will, again, we have probes up to 150 kilovolts. But if you want to use it as a differential device, you can actually put 2 probes in there, and now it can do full differential measurements to quite high voltages as well. So that's the basics of using it. It's pretty simple. It's also highly accurate. 2 countries actually use this as their primary standard, and it's really about the only high voltage meter on the market. Now, if I go on over to my next screen, I'm going to hit Start and Auto. And what you're going to see, I'm going to run the test again, is that it can also chart the trend in voltages over time. So you can do things for look like linearity of a device as you do calibration, which I think is quite handy. Like I said, if I was going to do a real accurate measurement, I'd slow down the time constant, I'd run it a longer period, but you'll see that this is quite accurate, quite easy to use, and that's really about all there is to it. Thank you for coming by.